David Haugh of the Chicago Tribune is here. Were you one of the 3 people there for that?
No.
You were not?
I was in the locker room waiting for people to notify us to go to the Jay Cutler press conference.
So you didn't know that Cutler was up there?
We knew after it was too late. So that was definitely a Bears PR fumble. And I don't think anybody that has watched the Bears this season would be surprised.
Nice. David Haugh of the Chicago Tribune. But, David, so did you hear my theory? Do you have kids, by the way, or no?
Yes, I have a 14-year-old son.
Okay, so then you definitely haven't seen Frozen then, have you?
No.
Okay.
But I've heard a lot about it.
Well, that's my theory is it's like Chicago's like Arendelle, where there's been a spell freezing the entire city. Yeah. Jay Cutler, the cold doesn't bother him, and he lets everything go. And he's basically, you know, the perfect quarterback is gone. It's sort of like the lyrics of the song. It's sort of like the lyrics of the song where Jay Cutler just needs to let it go. And now everybody else has been let go from the kingdom of Arendelle. What happens now moving forward, David?
I think it's a state of suspended animation, Rich. I do believe that, you know, it's surreal here because this is a very countercultural move for the Bears. This is a very anti-McCaskey-like move. But it's one that will be applauded publicly. It will be applauded privately. The embarrassment was enough. George McCaskey, the chairman of the Bears, had watched this unfold, and this is the second general manager he's fired now at Phil Emery. There was a foregone conclusion that Mark Trestman was going to go. I think anybody paying attention knew that the last 4 weeks. This was just his days were numbered. The Emery decision, a lot more bold, a lot more aggressive, and I think a lot more un-McCaskey-like because it says that we're starting over. And Jay Cutler may be part of that process, but I have been told that if the next guy doesn't want Jay Cutler to be part of the process, they will eat that $15.5 million too, because everything is about winning, and that's what this statement says more than anything.
What do you think Jay Cutler is thinking today with another head coach? Lovie Smith's gone. This head coach that was brought in to essentially make sure that him as the franchise face would be the one to lead them to the Super Bowl. He is now gone. When he left Denver, basically, we all know what happened there after he left. What do you think Jay Cutler is thinking today, David?
To whatever degree Jay Cutler allows himself to be introspective, Rich, and I'm not sure how much he does, but to whatever degree he does, I think he's probably having one of those moments. I think he's been a guy that you have seen more reflective this year. I think he's taken responsibility for his shortcomings. I think today, as he assesses his future, it's with some anxiety. There's more uncertainty than probably he's ever experienced. I think he also maybe a tinge of excitement because of that last-ditch possibility that maybe Mike Shanahan's going to come in and there's going to be perfect symmetry to his career and he's going to end it, or the latter stages will be like he began it in Denver with success under a guy that respected him. So I think there's a lot of probably questions. I don't think he's aloof in terms of looking at this and saying, whatever. I do think I sensed a guy yesterday post-game that has some real sort of concern over what happens next, and not knowing is a strange feeling for him.
David Haugh of the Chicago Tribune joining me now. So is Shanahan at the top of the Bears list in your estimation?
I don't think he's the top of the list, Rich. I think it makes sense to put him on it. I think that the guy, they have to go for experience, no more experiments. That's the problem here in Chicago. Mike Shanahan, Rex Ryan, Mike Smith, Jack Del Rio, Gary Kubiak. That would be where I would start. I mean, I don't know that that's where they will start. We'll find out later today. But I do believe that they have learned the hard way that you cannot hire novices any longer. The Bears have never hired an experienced head coach. Look what's happened. I mean, Mike Ditka caught lightning in a bottle. That was great. But that was 1985. They've got to go back to something that works, find a guy who knows what he's doing and talks like a football coach, acts like a football coach, and puts together a team that is in the Chicago tradition of defense, special teams, running game, and then, oh, yeah, okay, let's throw the ball.
That does sound like the son of Buddy to me, David.
It does. A guy who wears his heart on his sleeve. And look, Rich, yesterday, George McCaskey watching a meaningless game between the Bears and the Vikings, pumping his fist at every Bears completion and big play. This is a guy that I think would connect with a Rex Ryan type, who's looking for a Rex Ryan type. George McCaskey probably knows Rex Ryan well. It wouldn't shock me if he's at the top of the list.
How long do you think a ballpark for it? I mean, what do you think is going to happen in terms of getting a GM first and then hiring somebody else, or what do you think the process
As you know,
goes?
it's very rare in the league that simultaneous searches for GM and head coaches. Tampa did it. They hired the head coach first because Lovie Smith had the juice. He had the respect. I think it depends on who's available. I believe that the structure needs to be defined. That's what we'll find out at 4 o'clock Central today. I think this is going to be a deliberate process. The Bears don't do anything hasty. I think they're still going to be true to that. You can't change everything overnight. I think mid-January, though, we're looking at, and it depends on if the candidates are involved in the playoffs, as everybody with a vacancy is facing. But maybe they're going to introduce first, Rich, a football czar, a guy that's a consultant, a Bill Polian type, and that guy will set the course for the next GM and the next head coach. And it wouldn't shock me at all if they have that answer first, and then by the end of this week, that guy will chart the next few weeks.
Last question, David. Taking the temperature of your readership and walking around town, do you think that if somebody comes in and says, Cutler's my guy, throws their arms around Jay Cutler, if there's a coach out there that's willing to do that, do you think the fan base would be fine with Jay Cutler still being the quarterback of the Chicago Bears?
It'd be mixed. There's a lot of Cutler fatigue in Chicago, as you know, Rich. You were here a couple weeks ago. I think if it's the right guy with the right fit and it's somebody that could energize the masses, I think that they would take a trial basis of Jay Cutler one more season, last ditch, can you fix him type of thing. If the guy has credibility, has a history as a head coach with success, yeah, I think they would buy that, because right now the chorus you hear in the background is Alleluia from Bears fans, because people here are just overjoyed that George McCaskey did what everyone's been wanting him to do.
David, thanks for calling. I appreciate it.
No problem, Rich.
That's David Haugh of the Chicago Tribune here on The Rich Eisen Show.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On Audience.